Welcome to LollieTasking with ADHD. I am your host, Dr. Lola, a multi-passionate mom of three, a physician, and an ADHD life coach because, like most of you amazing women listening, I have ADHD. Join me as we chat about how ADHD affects our lives and learn strategies to help us all thrive, not just survive, with ADHD so we can live the life we want while accomplishing all our goals. Let's get started. Welcome to LollieTasking. Again, I am Dr. Lola. I am a physician, lifestyle strategist for women, and an ADHD trained life coach. My goal always is to help women who have had their life sabotage them, or they're busy, their brain sabotage all their efforts, live a fulfilled life by showing up in their full potential. And when we show up in our full potential, we're not overwhelmed, we're not burnt out, we're not sacrificing ourselves for even ourselves or our families, right? We're not sacrificing anything like this. And I do this by not only teaching you how to create strategies and systems, because we're all about the solutions, and I also teach you how to implement said strategies in a doable, achievable way where we maximize the limited time we have and focus on the most important things to us. Again, my big thing is you need to focus on what you need to do so you have time for what truly gives you joy. And that right there is wealth. So, thank you for tuning in again. I just want to thank you because this is going to be our last recorded episode for this year. I may have some prior episodes that we've previously recorded about how to deal with Christmas and such, but this is the last recorded episode I am doing for 2022. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. 2023 is about to blitz. I am so excited for 2023. I can't shout. There's going to be a lot of changes. I'm doing so many things next year. And at the same time, in me doing so many things, I constantly have this push on me. Lola, you need to rest. Lola, you need to rest, right? Because with ADHD, when we fall in love with something, we hyper focus, we do too much, we stay busy but not productive. So next year, my goal is one, to stay consistent on the things I've done already. Stop trying to overdo stuff. Keep it simple like I've been doing this year. Continue to keep it simple and rest. And actually, I'm going to put rest first. I'm going to prioritize rest. And that's what I want to talk about today. Rest is so important to our, say guys, that's my alarm. I'm just gonna keep it going. Rest is so important to our ADHD brain because our brain is on 100 all the time. So it's not natural for us to just want to rest, okay? But before I even talk about rest, I want to talk about my get back up moment. We don't call it fails now, we call it our get back up moment. So my big get back up moment this week has to do with me. This is gonna be so funny, guys. Me missing, not missing actually, me being too early for my son's Christmas thing that he has. So every year, no, actually, it's not a Christmas thing. They do a chapel at their school, and every year each grade does one chapel, and I try to make those because it only happens once that year, and once you make it to one kid's chapel, you got to make it to the other kid's chapel. But anyway, my baby had his chapel, and I was so proud of myself, and I wrote um, it in the calendar. For whatever reason, typically I I don't know. I'm getting a brain fart this morning. Typically I automate all my plans for the kids for the year, but then that particular chapel got moved, right? And what I should have done is go ahead and check on their website, make sure that it's still dumping into my calendar, which it actually is. But I did not trust my system. Again, when we don't trust the systems that we've put in place, that's when things happen. I did not trust the system, and I went ahead and put a date, which was last Thursday, and it wasn't so. I did so many things to make sure that I was able to make it to this particular chapel. I moved things around, the non existent chapel, mind you. So I got there so excited. Mommy got there, Mother of the Year. Woo! And I got there and it was cricket. I did not see anybody then. I was like, oh, am I missing a chapel? They're like, there's no chapel. And I was like, yes, there is. No, there's not. Well, I looked at my calendar and it was actually this Thursday, y'all. I was like, oh my gosh, right? But I made fun of myself. And you know what was so funny? Then I replied to the teacher. Then instead of replying to the teacher, I replied all to the entire class to let them know that I came to chapel on the wrong Thursday. Yeah. So my biggest fail in this one is because I did not rely on my calendar automation. So typically what I do is I have my calendar automation where it I all their school stuff feeds into my calendar, right? And then every week I confirm that it is still happened. Actually, now that I think about it, the big issue is not that it didn't work. The big issue is that I did not confirm the week prior because your girl went to Houston to go celebrate her girl's birthday, right? So I had so much fun. So my weekly evaluation and thing I did was like quick, right? I was like, oh, I know that already is Thursday, and I just put it in instead of actually reviewing my automated calendars that I have to make sure it was still accurate. If I had done that, like I typically did, I wouldn't have to be at chapel a whole week early. So guess what? Instead of beating myself up for it, I said, you know what, Lola? Now you now know why you need to keep doing this. And this happens often, right? That we do something, we're like, oh, I got this. I got this. I got this. The whole point of this is our systems work. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Continue with the systems that work for you. All right. So now that you know that I too have my fail moments, let's get back to what I really want to talk about. So, like I was saying, for the rest of the year, I am not recording anything. I'm going to spend time with family. I'm going to use that time to reassess what I want to do for 2023. There's going to be big changes. A lot of you guys know I am a life coach. I coach women and I coach women with ADHD. I just got done with my coaching training. I'm a master training in ADHD coaching, which is fantastic. And the way I see it is if I can get a woman with ADHD to achieve her goals, I could get any woman to achieve her goals. So with simplicity and with bringing things together, I have been thinking really hard. How can I incorporate rest, right? You have to be intentional with rest. And when I say intentional, rest should be seen as a to do on your list. Because if you're not intentional with your rest, you can hyper focus so much where you then crash at the end, right? If you're not intentional with your rest, our brain is a 100 all the time. You don't give your brain time to, you know, recoup all those memories it's done. You don't give it time to store those memories. You don't give it time to like just chill for a moment, right? So there are different types of rest. I call it active rest and passive rest, but the rest I want to talk about specifically is the rest where you really don't do anything, right? So I'm going to start from big and go down. Number one, do you have like a month or a time where you just, you don't do anything with your business, or you're on true vacation? We're not on an adventurous vacation. You literally are sleeping. Like, I'm just resting. I'm not doing anything. I don't have an agenda. I just want to rest. That is very important. If you have not done that, that's the first thing you need to do. And you need to decide how often do I want to do that, right? That's number one. So that's the big one, vacation rest. Number two, do you have a Sabbath day for yourself, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you actually get stuck into working in this 24-hour cycle. Do you have a start and a stop time of the day? Okay, I'm going to start working at this time and I'm going to stop working at this time. Do you have a time where you meditate for yourself, right? Do you have a time where, you know, all 24 hours today, I'm not answering emails, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm off? Do you have that, right? If you don't have a Sabbath day for yourself, it is very, very important. You have that 24 hours where you just lollygag and do whatever you want to do. No lollytasking those days, just lollygag and chilling and resting and doing stuff. Because here's the thing, you work so hard the last 6 days, you should have 7 days where you just rest and get yourself together. And what I realize is that the more I rest, the more I actually am able to get so many amazing downloads to be able to improve my life, improve my business, improve a lot of stuff. When you go, 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 you don't have time to just step back and reflect and say, what how has this been, right? And resting to some people could be journaling, right? Just dumping it all down. It's called a brain dump. Dumping it all down. It could be sleeping. It could be getting back to where you need to get to, right? It is so important. And even when you look at the medical aspect of things, when you don't rest, you have a high stress level. And when you have a high stress level, you have a high stress hormone called cortisol. And cortisol has been tied into the flight and fright response. Think about it. You're always on alert. So, of course, when you're always on alert, you have anxiety, you have difficulty losing weight. So, there's a medical aspect of rest as well. So, it is so important. Okay. So, I said, have a vacation, have a Sabbath day, and then even during the day, do you rest in the morning? How do you rest in the morning? Taking that time to yourself and say, I thank God for yesterday. What do I want to do today? Do you rest at night, reflecting right before you go to bed, right? Like, do you even have a bedtime, right? Do you have a time where you're like, okay, here is a time where I'm going to start prepping myself to rest, okay? Do you have any of that? If you don't, now is the time to think about, okay, what routine do I want to have for myself to allow me to rest, okay? Then the last one is resting during the day. Having frequent meditation. There's been a lot of studies that show that people who meditate frequently are able to pause. And we know with people like myself who have ADHD, the power of the pause is so important. So even if you don't have ADHD, it's magnificent. But if you have ADHD, being able to interrupt that impulsivity has to do with you training the pause, right? So throughout the day, I have made it a habit where every hour I close my eyes just for 30 seconds. That way I can rest. Just rest my brain. Don't think about anything. It takes a lot of practice because we're always in our mind. We're always thinking, doing. So it takes a moment to kind of be like, okay, I'm not doing anything. And then even then your mind is like, what are we supposed to be doing? You're like, I'm not doing anything. And the trick I use is like, I don't know if you swim, but I imagine myself on the ocean or on a water, and the water is literally carrying me. And when you're stressed, you sink. But when you give it all, you let the water carry you, right? And I literally let the water carry me, and I look up to the sun to have vitamin D shining on me, and I just let go. Let go. You don't have to be in cross-legged position to meditate, right? The more you do this, the better you'll be in tune to yourself and the better awareness you'll have with yourself, right? So those are the type of rest I do. So a lot of times people are like, but I have so much going on. It's so hard for me to rest. How can I rest? My brain is constant, 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 constant. So that's where you creating your routine comes into place. That's where you creating a strategy comes into place. So, for example, a lot of people with ADHD, we have issues with bedtime, either insomnia, and some of us are actually narcoleptic because we don't get good sleep, or we have actually the medical condition narcolepsy, right? So in those kind of situations, I actually encourage you to go see a sleep study doctor. But if you're like me, where my biggest issue was my brain was always on 100 right before I sleep, here are some things you need to do to help you sleep. Number one, you need to have a bedtime. Have a bedtime. There's a reason why we give kids bedtime, right? We give them bedtime so they can have adequate sleep. That way they could be better functioning the next day. Adults are still humans. We still need adequate sleep so we could better function the next day. So the number one thing I want you to do if you have problems sleeping at night is give yourself a bedtime. Once you've given yourself a bedtime, make sure that your bedroom is a sanctuary for sleep. I purposefully do not have any TV in my room because I don't want to be tempted to turn on television when I'm trying to sleep. So make your bed a sanctuary for sleep. Make sure that it's a calming place. Make sure that you have a routine you do before bed. So I always call it my wind down routine. So at least 2 hours before bed, I start prepping. Okay, I need to go to bed. This is the time I'm going to bed. And then an hour before bed, I'm typically in my room, getting things ready, journaling, doing whatever it is I need to do. Brain dump is so important for me to do at night because if I don't brain dump, I'm constantly thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking of all the things I didn't do or all the things I need to do. But when I have brain dump, then I know, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm not doing this is what I'm going to do, and that's it. And then once I'm done doing that, I call it my let go and let God. I just let go and let God because what hasn't been done at 9 p.m. tonight is not going to be done till tomorrow. So there's no point in thinking about it. So just let go and let God, okay? And then I make sure that before I go to sleep, not only have I let go and let God, I have made sure my phone is not close to me. That way, if my alarm goes off, I actually have to get up in the morning and go turn it off, right? So that's very important to me. I also make sure that I try not to do screen time at least an hour before bed. These are some tricks, or you could call it strategies or whatever it is, that work. But so one of the most important things is that honesty with ourselves. You know, honesty to ourselves that listen, I know I have a lot to do, but I really do need to go to bed early. If I go to bed early, then my brain is actually much more fresher to be able to achieve what I need to do in the morning. Okay, so that's really it. Number one, have a bedtime. Number two, have a have a calming mind. That works by brain dump for me. I have to brain dump to help me have a calm mind. And number three, letting go and letting God, and just like, you know what, I have done what I need to do. I cannot do anymore. There's just so many hours in a day. And if you were not intentional the day prior, so now is the time to tell yourself, okay, tomorrow we need to be more intentional because we have a lot of stuff we need to get done. Okay. So that's it for another amazing episode of LollieTasking with ADHD. I just want to thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you have an amazing and intentional week ahead. But before I go, I do want to tell you about my vision planning party. I'm going to put the link in my show notes. So this is a vision party for all women where I teach you how to have an amazing 2023. Everything we construct in life, you have to think about it first and then we have to envision it. So if you do not want 2022 to go, 2023, excuse me, to go by just as fast as 2022 did, and you ask yourself, what did I even accomplish this year? It is very important that we vision plan. So I am inviting you to our vision planning party. I believe it's or awe.lollietasking.com/vision 2023. I'm going to put the link in our show notes. So I would love for you to be there. If you cannot be there on the 27th, December 27th, after the holidays, I don't want you thinking about anything. I want you to just rest, okay? If you cannot be there, you can join our Facebook group, which used to be called, ADHD for Professional Women. I have called it Wealthy, Healthy, and Thriving Women because there are some women who have not been diagnosed with ADHD, but they think they're on the vast spectrum, and they want to be part of the group. But I just wanted to include all of us like us who want to achieve our goal. So, again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening. And if you're ready to do something about your ADHD, you can join our coaching program, which is Accomplished with Ease, or the LollieTasking.com/ADHD coach. It teaches you what an ADHD coach is, and then it invites you to our program. I will say, this is a little drop for all you guys listening. This is going to be the last time this program will look the way it looks. I am actually up leveling it, I'm up branding it. Um, but the ADHD course is still going to be there for you if you want to learn about your ADHD and see how to help your ADHD. But that's it. I just want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again for listening and making 2022 amazing. Please share this podcast. We're at 100 away from 20,000 downloads, y'all. Oh my goodness. I want us to reach 20,000 before the end of this year. Please share this podcast with everybody and anybody you know. I am so excited. Next year is going to be amazing. I have a fantastic episode that I am going to record. I'm preparing it right now before I go on my 2 weeks vacation that will come January 4th. Yes, come January 4th, whatever that Tuesday is, the first Tuesday in January, I am going to lay out the plan for you, and I cannot wait to see you in 2023. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and a Merry, Merry, Happy New Year. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of LollieTasking with ADHD. If you like what you've heard today, I would love for you to click the subscribe button, rate, and leave a great review, in addition to sharing with your friends. Your review allows visibility and also allows other amazing women to find this podcast. Also, if you have any questions or topics you would like for us to discuss, please contact me via direct message on Instagram at LollieTasker or email us at hello@LollieTasking.com. Till next time, this is LollieTasking with ADHD.